This is Dragon Blogger here to show off some of the new features of Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a Twitter management client that underwent a recent update to HTML5 and changed their interface quite a bit, as you can see here. Gone is the accounts and settings menu at the bottom, and instead there's now a Hootsuite button at the top left that says launch. Clicking on this button will launch the various streams, contacts, settings, and other areas you want to go into your application where there used to be separate links at the bottom of the page. The most noticeable update of the new Hootsuite right off the bat is the way the new columns look and how they behave. When a column updates now, whether it's your home feed, your mentions, your lists, your pending, or your directs, you'll see a tab line right here, an indicator that shows you everything that's above when the most recent update happened. So if you see this tab line, you'll know that everything below the tab line was in the previous updates and everything above the tab line is new since the last update. You'll also see a number here showing how many updates have occurred or how many new fields or messages are waiting for you when you do the next update. You can do manual updates, or you can set update intervals by clicking on the auto refresh tab. You could set it to where your columns only update when you manually refresh them every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, etc. What I wish you could do is set automatic updates on a column basis, because you may want your home feed to only update every 5 or 10 minutes, but you may want your mentions or your directs to update more frequently. I don't see the ability to update individual columns with separate refresh rates like you can on TweetDeck, but that's a minor feature that's missing. When you want to type messages in Hootsuite now, you would just simply type a message testing out the new Hootsuite 5 update. And of course, you can type in a URL here, click shrink, and it'll shrink it to Owly, or can you use the new ht.ly shortening service? You could set that in your account options. You can upload an image or a file and directly embed that in your tweet with a link to TwitPic or whatever you use. Scheduling a tweet now is clicking on a calendar link. They took away the ability to just set the date and time and press the schedule here, which makes it an extra click. You got to pick the date or type it in manually, and then you got to select the time or type them in manually, and then you just set the date for the tweet to go off. This is, again, one of my favorite features of Hootsuite, and even TweetDeck does scheduling now, but I still like the way Hootsuite does it, and I tend to use Hootsuite for doing all my scheduled tweets. When you set a tweet to schedule and you set the date, you make sure you select which Twitter account you want to use, and again, it doesn't have to be a Twitter account. Hootsuite can connect to Ping FM, so this is my Ping FM account, which pings to all my accounts, my 40+ social networks. So you select your account and you select schedule. All your tweets go into a pending tweets column, which is useful. You can edit them, update them, delete them entirely if you don't want them to go out. Very, very handy. What I really liked about Hootsuite, and this is where it stands out against TweetDeck. TweetDeck, you get a single page. You can create infinite columns and lists in TweetDeck. You can create separate, mentions, replies, home feeds for your various Twitter accounts. That's all fine. But in Hootsuite, you can create separate tabs. So I can have a tab entirely dedicated to my Dragon Blogger account, have my home feed, mentions, my lists that I subscribe to. Here's my blogger list with other popular bloggers that I follow and I'm a big fan of. I have my Techno Tree tab. And so you can actually, with these tabs, you can create your custom columns and lists and tailor them for each specific Twitter account. This is something that only Hootsuite has over TweetDeck, and is extremely beneficial if you manage multiple Twitter accounts, because this allows you to have many, many more lists. Say you don't want to bog up your home page and you don't want to have to scroll back and forth. You could just create a separate tab and put all your various lists on that tab, and then whenever you want to check what's going on in your lists, you just click on the list tab. You can create multiple tabs for the same Twitter account, multiple Twitter accounts. You can even, like TweetDeck, mix and match different accounts. So I could have my replies and mentions for Dragon Blogger, for my Techno Tree, for my Get Out Arizona account, all in the same tab if I want. I just tend to like separate tabs for each of my Twitter profiles to make it easy to keep track of. Hootsuite will also link to Ping FM, which TweetDeck does not do. By linking to Ping FM, you could send one message and it will go out to 50 social networks in one shot. Plurk, Friendster, FriendFeed, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything in one shot with Ping FM. TweetDeck does the Facebook and LinkedIn support, but Ping FM gives you just updates to every single one of your social networks, even the obscure ones that you wouldn't even think of. So by Hootsuite linking to Ping FM, it gives you more access to update your social networks directly. And in fact, by using Hootsuite, it's better than actually using Ping FM. Although you can't read in feeds from other social networks like you can with Ping FM, you can actually update to all your Ping FM feeds, which is kind of useful. So this is why I like the new Hootsuite. I really like the stats fit page, but these only work if you use the owl.ly shrink. If you use Hootsuite to shrink the links, then you can get statistics and click tracking for the various tweets you send out, what days they, how many clicks per day you're getting. I still tend to use Bitly a lot to shrink my links. So the click tracking of Hootsuite doesn't track my Bitly links that I send out. So it's not as useful for me, but I still do occasional Owly links and I like to track them. I do still like Bitly, where you can go to each individual link and click on and add a plus sign and see the full stats of each individual link you shrink, which is kind of convenient. So this is a look and an overview of the new Hootsuite application. Very, very streamlined. The only thing I will say is, at least from my experience, it's a little bit slower than the old version. And the reason why it's a little slower has to do with the new HTML5 interface and how they lay it all out. Twitter has reduced its API count, so I would recommend you set the auto updates to being less frequently than more frequently, or else you can run out of API calls pretty quickly. This is particularly true if you have a lot of columns and a lot of lists, because each one of those columns and each one of those lists makes API calls to update. So you can easily max out your API calls and go into Twitter jail if you have too many updates going on and you have too many lists going on at the same time. This is a Dragon Blogger quick overview of the new look of Hootsuite. Let me know what you think. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.